On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we are here with my 2000 Corvette C5, and we are going to take it from mild to wild, but without a switch, and permanently. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today, like I said, we're here with my Corvette I bought for only $5,000, and we are so close to having this thing done. There's a few little things left, like obviously everyone's mentioning the speedometer. I know, I just kind of forgotten because it's not as critical as the top and the paint to making this, you know, a proper Corvette. So of course we got the C6 wheels on it, new wiring harness, cleaned it up a little bit. Cleaned the engine bay last time, so finally it doesn't look like it was full of rats. The interior is yet to be detailed, but I did quite a bit of the carpet so far. We are making great progress bringing this thing back to life. It runs right, the gauges are starting to look correct other than the speedo, and we're getting the dash completely clear of lights. I do need to tune it, but that's on the to-do list as well. So today's to-do list is take all these holly boxes we have here and put them on the car. I'm dead. But no, this is the Hooker Blackheart exhaust for the C5 Corvette. I'll throw all the part numbers in the description below, of course, but we've got one here. It's 70 301 1312 RHKR. I feel like that is probably our new headers, the 50 state legal headers. So you can actually put these on your car even if you live in California because they have a carb number and they're EPA legal. So you can maintain the cats, you can maintain air if you want it, and we've got an exhaust to put a little bit of sound in this LS1. Jacob's gonna fire up the old C5. We're gonna do a cold start here and hear the stock exhaust because obviously that's the most important thing when you're doing an exhaust swap. As you guys saw when it started up, that exhaust, the brackets are broken, so it does that. All right, give me a rev. A little more. Man, this thing still needs driven. It's a pretty mild sound, and I think when we're done with this in a minute, it will be perfect. And the bonus here is we don't have to re-weld the exhaust, we get a better looking exhaust, and the broken mount goes away. Everything's fixed with this. So I'm very, very excited to get this all on the car. There's 3 boxes here. I haven't opened them all up, so let's do that right now and figure out what we're getting into. Make a mess. Yep, that's an exhaust. This is an axle back because you don't need to replace all the center stuff on the Corvette. Also, it has the cats in it. We're leaving the cats, and those should be the manifolds. Let's lift this thing up and put the exhaust on it. First things first, lubricating the rusty bolts from the stock axle back. A little bit of knocker loose. We've got the weapon out. Got it set on kill. Let's see if it'll do this. Honestly, I have my doubts because these are rusted. So we're fully seated. I'm gonna close my eyes and hammer away. It's moving. I could not be more surprised that that came out. The threads on that are just ruined. Okay, here we go. Oh! Well, hopefully that comes out. That's about what I expected to happen, was these bolts just snap off. The second exhaust I've had to cut off in 2 days! Ah! The factory exhaust cracked and somebody did a hack job weld, and now you can't get the bolts out. Thanks. This will just take 10 minutes. Me, 30 minutes later. Cool, I got 2 bolts out. As you can see, I have the assortment here. The Sawzall, a Sawzall blade that now has no teeth left on it. The grinder wouldn't fit in there at all. The Mega Impact, which is what actually ended up doing it. I was able to finally snap both bolts. Well, that one came out and that one snapped. So I'm gonna hit that with the sledgehammer and it should come apart. That one snapped, go Milwaukee Impact. This one has a weld stuck in there, so I can't even get the Milwaukee on it. It just pops off. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that one. Typical 30-minute job, taking 3 hours because somebody did bad work on it. And that's what I remembered. I own a welder, and I'm pretty sure we can tack a nut on here. That looks like it's floating on top of that thing. I kind of doubt it works, but we'll let it cool down and we'll give it a shot. Let's see if we won. Oh, helps if you put the right wrench on that side. Nope. Not even close. Try number 2 after actually practicing for a bit. I might have collapsed the side of the nut there, but we'll let it cool properly this time. And it looks like this one might have actually fused. So I'll actually post a couple pictures, but this is my first weld and this is my second weld. This is actually 2 passes, and the first pass looked horrible, has a nasty restart in it. And this one, I think, that's 2 passes, of course. I think it looks a little better. But hey, judge my welding in the comments. Hopefully it gets this bolt off, because there's no way to get any kind of abrasive stuff in there. And the Sawzall, they literally knocked all the teeth right off the blade. So we're gonna try to get this off. I'll let that cool down a little bit more. It's extremely hot. And then I just wanna get out a bunch of metal and practice welding. And this welder is absolutely amazing. I did not think the first welds I ever did really were gonna look like that, because all my, like, I've tried a few times before and it's never happened at all. And this thing just, right out of the gate, just perfect. I bought the biggest bottle of argon. This is 300 CF. And it looks like every time I weld, I need to turn the regulator back up just a little bit more just to keep it at 10. But anyway, I shouldn't run out of argon or 75-25 for a very long time. I got this bottle for 350 bucks. And it's already at air gas, so they'll refill it, which is perfect. I am gonna bet money this doesn't work though, because it probably still doesn't have the penetration we need. Is that working? Or is the nut twisting off? I can't tell what's going on. Yeah, there we go. It didn't work. Some people said do the hammer test on this, which is why this has all been up. It was nice and clean. I hit that with the biggest sledgehammer as hard as I could 3 times. So it didn't break. Maybe this whole exhaust install is actually just a lesson on removing very stuck bolts where it's impossible. What I would have liked to have had was my air hammer with a flat set, and I probably could have just popped it right off. But I took the Sawzall again, since that blade's trash, and I used it as a grinding wheel to kind of carve out all the metal slag from that welding that was on there. And then I put the big impact back on it, and I got it to bite. And I just let it sit there and eat until the bolt broke, and it finally broke, which is great. So all 4 bolts are out. It literally took a couple hours and lots of welding practice. But that impact will literally change your life. Every old bolt, this is why I don't work on old cars anymore either. They're the worst cars in the world. All the bolts break every time. On new cars, like that Audi, it's all just perfect. Everything we work on over here, all that stuff, that's all perfect. This stuff, nightmares. This, only a nightmare. But that and OBD1, those are my arch nemesis. But that impact, I can't say enough good things about it. I've had that one for like 2 or 3 years now, and just destroy it nonstop. Never quits. Snaps every bolt I want. So you need to drop the sway bar to get these things off, because it gives you the clearance so you can rotate this. What we're gonna do here, 15 on the lower control arm bolt, 18 on the back, and we'll just zip them out with the impact. I've got a swivel on there because it's all very tight up inside there. So let's rock and roll. This should come right down. There's one nut. There's the bolt. And another nut. Comes right off. All right, sway bar down. This is about the 20th bolt or nut that's been welded onto these studs trying to get them off. As you can see, one of them we just won. I think it was actually that one right there, just came out. And then that was a fail. All the ones I welded on popped. These things are invincible. If you guys want to see the sheer bolt breaking power of this monster, every single bolt is snapping because it's all rusted into place. This is after heating them for until they were basically red hot and running them on knocker loose. They're all stuck. There we go. That one snapped in half and snapped in half. There it's back here cranking away. Is this coming out now?
It's coming.
Oh snap.
Slowly, little by little.
Broken. So this 30-minute job, I think I'm 3 or 4 hours into it. Whoa. Flying ratchets. Today is a huge win. We are back to work on the Corvette. Obviously it's a new day because it took so long. Are you showing off?
Look at my welds.
Is it still hot? I was like, that thing was smoking. Anyway, I've been welding everything in the shop for multiple days and finally stacked some dimes, even if they're not in a line. Anyway, huge win today, like I was saying, because there's no water in the shop and it has been pouring rain for the last 2 days. Usually that corner would be wet. There'd be a little wetness over there. There's no water. So apparently our new roof works after they got the guttering on. It's been very different. And I mean, we're ready to do some work in here. Anyway, back underneath the Corvette, obviously the exhaust is off. We're gonna run a tap through these holes to make sure they're nice and clean. I brought copper anti-seize so this doesn't happen again. And up here, we've got to get the O2 sensors out, which are buried up there on the headers just a little bit. We might have to take the mid pipe down, even though I was trying to avoid that. And then we'll swap out the headers, and this thing will have a new exhaust. As you would imagine, after all the rust, the O2 sensors are putting up quite a fight. So I've got a 7/8 flare wrench, which is the way to do this because there's not a lot of accessibility. I brought my O2 sensor socket set, but you can't get them in here anywhere. You can't get them up in the mid pipe because the O2s sit like this and like an X. So you're out of luck there. They sit so high. And I was able to get this in there. And so far I was able to break this one loose. And here goes the last one. Hopefully I can break it loose and show you guys. So let's see. All right, she's hooked up. Here we go. Well, that's the least explosive one so far. All the others came out with a bang. So, O2 sensors are all loose, and when I put them back in, I will put copper anti-seize on all of them. I don't think these had any anti-seize, which obviously makes it really hard to get them out. I don't know if we needed to take the mid pipe out, but I did it because it made getting to the O2 sensors way easier. And now, we're gonna go through this as fast as we possibly can. So this is a race. Both of us have different obstacles to get through. On the passenger side, we need to get out the battery, the shield, the coil packs, the dipstick, and pull the spark plug wires off, and maybe move the coolant reservoir. On the driver's side, we need to pull all the coils, spark plug wires, and the alternator, which means the accessory belt has to come off from over here as well. And then I think that's it. I think that's honestly it. The other thing, I do have the motor mount bolt on the bottom of the engine pulled already because you have to kind of tweak the engine to get the headers in typically. So we'll either slide a jack under or just lift it back up and use a screw jack. You just give it like a bump and that's all. The driver's side is the easier one technically, but you have to take the alternator out, and the passenger side is just a lot of work because a lot of stuff has to come out. So they're pretty equal. Let's get to it. Well, with the teamwork, we knocked out both sides in about 15 minutes, so it went very quickly. And now I just need to clean up the mating surfaces with the Spinny Boy. We used this on the Bronco, and there were tons of comments asking where to get this. These are the 3M Bristle Brush Roll-Lock Discs off Amazon. I'll try to throw a link in the description below. They're amazing. Obviously, they're a little on the expensive side though because 3M. So I think, if I remember right, I bought a whole box because a box is like $100 and you get a ton of them, and they're pretty consumable. So the box is probably the method, but you can buy them like 5 at a time for 20 bucks or something. The time these things save you on doing something like this though, watch. We've got the factory manifolds off the engine, exhaust gaskets off, mating surfaces clean. Now it's time to open up the sauce. I'm very happy about this. These are shorties, so I'll keep the mid-pipe intact. Which side is this? This is the driver's side. O2 bung faces rearward. Yeah, these are nice. Look at that collector in there. Really good setup. Very beautiful welds. I'm a fan. Also, like I said, 50 state legal. This, you could keep air if you wanted it. I'm gonna block that off again. We gotta pull out that plug for the O2 sensor, slide these things in, put this thing back together. It really shouldn't take long at all. Probably about as long as it took for us to get the things apart. Man, those save a lot of weight too. So that is nice. I'm just kind of glad they're pretty. And that's our passenger side. Oh, look at that. Thanks for not even tightening these down, because almost everybody's gonna have to take them out, so that's a really nice touch. A lot of times you get this stuff and that plug's buried in there, so I like that a lot. And it looks like we've got a dipstick mount as well. Very cool. So we've got the new headers chilling in the bay. Obviously we started a bolt on each side, because once you start the bolts, you can just drop the new gaskets on because they're slotted, which is a nice touch. So that just goes in there like that, and you drop it on, and now we are ready to put all the other bolts in. So I'll snug those up and start putting the rest in. Eric's is in too. We are moving right along. He's ready to drop his gasket. Also, those gaskets are directional. They say this side towards manifold on the manifold side. The entire engine bay is put back together, but guess what? It looks way prettier down there. And we switched to all these Allen head bolts on the air delete and all that good stuff. So that looks way better. Look at that. The dipstick mount's better. Well, I'm in love with the new setup. Let's get this in the air and bolt the exhaust on. I am running my M10 by 1.5 tap through all these holes that we had to pull these bolts out of, because they're not exactly clean anymore, and we need them to be very clean to put all the factory bolts back, or the factory size bolts. So take my time, some oil on the tap, and we're getting there. Oh yeah, everything else is done. Looks good. We have converted this entire area into a disaster because we've needed every tool in the entire planet instead of the usual 13, 15, 17. But the exhaust is in. If you look at that, this stuff is massive. It's like 3-inch pipe. And this is, you know, loosely bolted up so that we can still move it around a little bit. And we're ready to slide the rubber isolators on here, which are these right here, and bolt the things in. Well, I'm in love with the way this new exhaust looks, and you guys get to see it in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Check that upgrade out. That is wild. It's all tightened down. It has this sweet hooker plate that lets you level it. It's kind of a cool trick because a lot of exhausts don't sit level in the back. So you can cheat and use that to put a little pressure on each side to kind of make it perfect. So there's the mufflers. This is the kit with the mufflers. Like I said, I'll throw a link in the description. Those look wonderful. The clamps, we tried to hide all the bolts, make them accessible and out of the weather. There's the rest. Flanges are all tight. O2s are all in. So this is 50 state legal, and I bet it's gonna sound awesome. So let's lower this thing and hit that first start. I can't wait. It's way better. Yeah. start smoking any second now when it gets hot.
It threw out a puff at the beginning.
Did it? I need to go drive it. Let's give it a one little rev. Here's the before. A little more. And here is the after with the Hooker Blackheart. I am a big fan. It gave it that nice deep note that it needed. First drive with the new exhaust. I really need to put this interior back together so that wires and stuff aren't just hitting me in the legs. But, oh, I like that. Let's do a windows up test. How's this sound with the cabin sealed? Still a nice throaty sound. Okay. That's a good sound. Well, there you have it, a multi-day exhaust install. If your car has no rust on it, it will not take very long at all. We're talking like a handful of minutes. Unfortunately, this one has sat outside for a lot of its life. But low mile car, super nice drivetrain, and I love the way it sounds now. So again, I'll throw links in the description below. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjericho.com where you get cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I'll talk to you next time. Yeah, buddy.